Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for the Sunday morning session on the science of self-realization. So before we begin our session, let's offer our prayers to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandrodaya Shri Shri Gaura. So welcome everyone for the Sunday morning session on science of self-realization. So today we're going to have the discussion from the first section of this book, Science of Self-Realization. And because, in the initial few sessions, what we had was not that elaborate, it was very much concise. So we'd like to take up the first section again and complete this first section because we have almost completed the book, the last session. Again, I would like to take the first section called Learning the Science of the Self, which is very important for our spiritual life. So, thought we'll just again take up and understand. Because again and again, understanding, reading the teachings from Prabhupada's life is always very inspiring. So today is the part 1 of the topic, Learning the Science of the Self. And our teachings are all based on the wonderful inspiration from His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of Iskcon, who has given us so simple teachings for us to understand and move forward in our lives. The spirituality and spiritual way of living is so important in everybody's life, but unless we have a spiritual way of perspective in life, it is not easy for us to actually have a proper happy life, peaceful life. Otherwise, so many things in the world is always disturbing us. That's the point. Philosophical perspective will make us always very peaceful, very happy, and in fact, we'll be moving towards the right direction in our life. That's the point. So let's begin with our first section, first part. The point Prabhupada makes is missing point in modern society. What is the missing point? It is actually applicable to all of us, mostly. This very important Krishna consciousness movement is meant to save human society from spiritual death. Very significant statement Prabhupada is making. The organization called Iskcon, or the Hare Krishna movement, Krishna consciousness movement, is actually going to save the entire humanity from what is known as spiritual death. What is spiritual death? What is normal death? Let us understand. Normal death is that we change our body from this life. Our gross body will live and go to one more body. What that next body is, we don't know. This is the complete science which Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. Depending on your consciousness time of death, you will be given one more body. This is the normal aspect of death described in Bhagavad Gita. Spiritual death basically means spiritually you're not going to die in one sense, but for time being, because you are not spiritually awakened, that your spirit soul, you are eternally existing, and you as spirit soul is supposed to serve Krishna. Because of this ignorance, you are going to continue in this material world in different species of life. The human form, what you have got, is supposed to be enlightened with regard to the understanding that I am spirit soul. If this understanding that I am spirit soul is not actually awakened in a proper way, what happens? You will have a spiritual death. Which means, at least for time being, your progress is blocked. Because next life, what is going to happen, we also don't know. If you are done some devotion, you are assured of getting a human life. Otherwise, even the human life you will not get. That's the point. So, this Krishna consciousness movement is meant to save human society from spiritual. That's a very significant statement Prabhupada is making. So, the whole organization is meant to see that we guide the human society in this aspect. At present, human society is being misled by leaders who are blind, for they do not know the aim and objective of human life. Presently, we see the different politicians and the so-called leaders who are there. Nobody is aware of what is the purpose of life, what is the goal of life, what is the aim of life. They are blind actually. In the Bhagavata it is mentioned, Andha yathandair upaniyamana, means blind leading the blind. Right? When a blind man is leading others, he doesn't even know where he's going. So we'll automatically be guiding or leading others to a wrong direction. Blind here basically means blinded by the right direction in spiritual life. What is the actual purpose of life? Actual purpose of life, it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as we have to come out of the cycle of birth and death and return back to spiritual world, Krishna Loka. This aspect is forgotten, or this direction is not there. This goal of life is not there, because of which the modern day leaders are called blind leaders. So this is the missing point in the present day society, that we are led by blind leaders who don't know the aim of life. And this self-realization that I am spirit soul, I am supposed to be spiritually engaged in this human form of life is actually forgotten or not even known, or people are not aware of this. So the aspect of self-realization and the re-establishment of our lost relationship with Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of God Krishna, is the goal of life, is the aim of life. This is actually missing in the present day society. People are all running after things which are all actually not factual. Right? People are running after some illusory things. Prabhupada gives example of a mirage in the desert. It looks like there is a water somewhere in the distance when you're moving in the desert, but actually there is no water. So we are running behind illusory things in the material world, which actually will not get. So people have missed the point, present day society, and running after so many enjoyment, so many sort of illusory sort of things, which is actually misguiding them and misleading them. Our actual aim is to have self-realization and, as Prabhupada says, re-establishment of our lost relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Krishna consciousness movement is trying to enlighten human society in this important matter. So, without achieving this, our human life is actually, in one sense, spoiled or wasted. There's a nice statement from one of our acharyas in one of his songs. Narottam Das Thakur says, Manushya janama paya Radha Krishna na bhajiya janiya suniya visha khainu. Very powerful statement. He says, you got human form of life and you don't do bhajana of Radha Krishna, which means devotion to Radha Krishna, then knowingly you're drunk poison. It's very, very abominable, very degrading. That is what the entire human society is going through now. Nobody knows the aim of life, purpose of life, self-realization, re-establishing our relationship with Krishna. This is the missing point of human society. And Prabhupada established Iskcon movement, the Krishna consciousness movement, to give this wonderful teaching to everybody. Through very systematic training, through various ways and means, Prabhupada wanted to, in fact, give this teaching to everybody in a nice way. Now, to further elaborate on what is perfection of life, Prabhupada very nicely says, according to Vedic civilization, the perfection of life is to realize one's relationship with Krishna or God. So it's a very wonderful, really aspect Prabhupada is telling, because all of us are looking for relations. With relationships, we want to enjoy life. But we have to understand the relationships and the different enjoyments we are looking for is only going to last with this body. Once this body is over, we're going to take one more body somewhere which we don't even know, and we have to have one more set of relationships, one more type of enjoyments there. So all these things is actually, in one sense, going on life after life in our existence. But actually, as spirit souls, we have our actual relationship with Krishna, which we have forgotten. So this relationship with Krishna is eternal. Why? Because as spirit souls, our nature is Satchidananda. Satchidananda means we are eternal, we are full of knowledge, and we are full of bliss. This is what we are seeking for in the material world. But somehow this seeking for Satchidananda is not getting satisfied in any situation. Our looking forward or seeking for Satchidananda is totally dissatisfied. We are only getting contrary things. Just like we are getting Asat. Asat means which is not permanent, it is not eternal. And we are completely in ignorance about who we are. We are ignorant about people around us. We are ignorant about so many aspects in this whole world. And also, we are looking for Ananda, but we are not getting real Ananda. We are getting Jadananda or Nirananda sometimes. No Ananda also. Because finally, in the relationships, whatever you are going through, somebody is dead or somebody passes away, then the relationship is broken forever. Like that, the experience we are going through in the material world is contrary to what we are expecting. That's why the Vedic civilization says, perfection of life is realize one's relationship with Krishna or God. In a very simple statement, Vedas say, Mrutyoma amrutam gamaya, tamasima jyotirgamaya. In the Bhagavad Gita, which is accepted by all authorities in the transcendental science as the basis of all Vedic knowledge, we understand that not only human beings, but all living entities are parts and parcels of God. So Prabhupada is giving us the proper background of understanding why this relationship is important, why it is so obvious, so evident. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic scriptures. He says, Mamevamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are all constitutionally part and parcel of Krishna eternally. Our situation or our identity is we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are not this body, we are not this boy being born in India or America or some other country. No. Our identity is not that. Our identity is I am spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. This is called self-realization. So when you understand I am part and parcel of Krishna, just like his hands are my part of the body. So what is the function of this hand? The function of the hand will be to serve the body. Or any part of the body is supposed to serve the body. Likewise, the function of the spirit soul, its activity is to serve the Supreme Spirit, whom we are part and parcel. Part and parcel basically conveys the idea that we are very intimately connected. Right? So this is the basic understanding with which Vedic scriptures say that why we have to revive our relationship with Krishna. This relationship we have forgotten and we are going on in the material world in different identities, in different designations. The parts are meant for serving the whole, just as the legs, hands, fingers, and ears are meant for serving the total body. Very nice, wonderful explanation Prabhupada is giving. We living entities, being parts and parcels of God, are duty bound to serve Him. It is not a choice, or it's not a that whether we should do or not. No, there is no such aspect in this way. It is our duty, it is our responsibility, it is our actual need that we are supposed to serve Krishna in this way. Otherwise, if we don't serve Krishna, then we will be serving what is known as Maya. Maya means which is not actually factual, and we are not going to really experience the real happiness which we are looking for, the real eternal life which we are looking for. Okay? These are all very important philosophical aspects to make us understand what is the perfection of life. Perfection of life in the modern day context means to earn more money, to become a very rich person, to become a very famous person, or to get a position in the government or some society or some organization. People think that is perfection of life. Or to remain healthy, or to be happy. Like this, many things people have the different concepts regarding perfection of life. But to take understanding from the authorities like Srila Prabhupada, who is giving us the understanding, perfection of life is to revive our relationship with Krishna. And for this, the understanding is that we are eternally connected to Krishna, being part and parcel of Krishna. So this aspect is further elaborated in this next point Prabhupada makes. Actually, our natural position is to render service. Why this aspect of reviving the relationship has come is because constitutionally or actually our situation is to render service. Actually, our position is that we are always rendering service to someone, either to our family, country, or society. It is a situation. If we have no one to serve, sometimes we keep a pet dog or cat and render service to it. So here, Prabhupada is giving us the wonderful principle that as spirit soul, we are having this natural tendency to render service to someone. All of us are rendering service and taking service from someone. Right? A doctor is giving service to patients. The businessman is doing service in terms of his, say, giving some product supply to some customers. Right? Everybody is rendering service to someone. The family, mother is serving children. Husband is serving the family by earning for the family. Like this, everybody is serving. Nobody can say I'm without any service, right? So Prabhupada says if you don't have anybody to serve, which is very common in the present day society, they keep some pet animal like a cat or a dog and render service to it because service has to happen. All these factors prove that we are constitutionally meant to render service. Yet in spite of serving to the best of our ability, we are not satisfied. Right? In spite of so many services we have been doing all along throughout our life, we are not happy. Prabhupada gives a wonderful example in this regard. He says, it's like in our nation. Our nation, we had Mahatma Gandhi, a very great personality. He was serving the nation, serving the entire humanity. But finally, after our nation, India, got independence, and the way independence we got, Mahatma Gandhi was not happy. He said, I am the most unhappy person because India was divided into Hindustan and Pakistan, because of which Mahatma Gandhi was very unhappy. So, whole life he rendered service for one particular goal, and finally when the goal was achieved, it was not the way he expected. So he was very frustrated, he was not happy. And even the people, some of the people were not happy with his service, because of which we know in the history that Mahatma Gandhi was shot dead. So like this, we see in the material world, the rendering of service to anybody, either in the family, community, society, country, it's not that we're going to please everybody or satisfy everybody. There's always some sense of dissatisfaction or some sense of frustration always in the people who we render service. We are not satisfied. Anyway, but nevertheless, the person who is rendering service is doing best of his ability. But even then, the other person is not satisfied. This is the nature of material world. Nor is the person to whom we are rendering that service is satisfied. Right? On the material platform, everybody is frustrated. This is the nature with which we are, the way the world is going on. Nobody is satisfied. Prabhupada gives one more example of how the husband, will say, I've done so much of service to all of you, entire life. So let me retire now. Let me go to Vrindavan or take retirement and spend my time in spiritual life. The family members will say, what have you done? Still, the son is not settled, daughter's marriage is not over. Like this, the complaints are always there. People are never satisfied with regard to service being received from anybody. The reason for this is that the service being rendered is not properly directed. This is the main point. Right? For example, if we want to render service to a tree, we must water the root. If we pour water on the leaves, branches, and twigs, there is little benefit. a very wonderful example given in the scriptures that if you want to satisfy or rather give nourishment to the tree, what you should do? You should pour water on the root, not that you separately want to nourish the branches, leaves, twigs. No, that will not satisfy the, rather will not give nourishment to the tree entirely. Just pour water on the root. Everything is actually taken care. So similarly, Prabhupada says further, the Supreme Personality is served, all other parts and parcels will be automatically satisfied. It's a very wonderful principle, which is the missing point in present day society. If Krishna is satisfied, then actually everything is satisfied. One more example is given. Just like in your body, if you want to have nourishment, what do? You move to the place where there is food, take your hand and put it in your stomach, through the mouth. Not that hands want to independently enjoy or the legs want to independently enjoy. That's not possible. Right? So the direction towards actual satisfaction, actual enjoyment is when stomach is taken care, is filled, and automatically every other part is satisfied. Similarly, if the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is served, all other parts and parcels will be automatically satisfied. Consequently, all welfare activities as well as service to society, family, and nation are realized by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, whatever we see in the humanity as society, country, nation, whatever activities we are doing, if it is directed towards actually serving Krishna, then all those activities, welfare activities, are perfect. Otherwise, there will be only patchwork services. If you are going to feed anybody because they are hungry, you please feed prasadam. That is actually going to give them real benefit. That way, the welfare activity should be directed towards the upliftment of the soul or enlightening the soul from ignorance for which they are suffering for. Right? This is the whole point Prabhupada is making here. All welfare activities, society, country, nation, everything will be perfected by the highest welfare activity by giving the opportunity of service to Krishna. Everybody is given opportunity to service to Krishna, then that is the perfection. Okay, so with this, we'll come to the next point with regard to what is our duty in the human form of life in that way. What we should do? Should we give up the responsibility of family or professions, what we are having? Prabhupada explains nicely. It is the duty of every human being to understand his constitutional position with God and act accordingly. So, there is something known as constitutional duty because of we being Atma. And also there is something known as conditional duty because we have got a body. The constitutional duty that I am a spirit soul and our spirit soul's activities, duties we have to do. That is what we are discussing now. Right? We should understand that we are connected to Krishna. In that way, we should be rendering service to Krishna. That is our constitutional duty. Whereas with regard to conditional duty, because we have got a body, a male, female, and rather whatever situation we are in as a professional or as a businessman or that and this, as a mother or as somebody, some roles we play, so many roles we play in our life. Those duties also have to be perfect. But again, in connection with Krishna, how it is so, we'll try to understand. If this is possible, then our lives become successful. What is possible? If you keep the horse before the cart, then the life becomes successful. Right now, what is happening is we're trying to keep the cart in the front and horse behind. You have to understand that spirit soul is a driving force, which is actually taking your body forward, which means the spirit soul is properly nourished, nurtured, and taken care with regard to its spiritual requirements. Then what happens? It will drive the whole body in a proper way. The direction for the how to move forward. The spirit soul is not nurtured, cared for, or rather it is not even in the front always. Only your body conscious is in the front. then what happens? Your bodily concept of life will be going on. Right? The bodily concept of life is a very, you can say, degraded type of consciousness. This is what Prabhupada is telling us here, that if you want to make your life successful, keep the spiritual activities in the forefront and do everything else as part of the spiritual activities. Sometimes, however, we feel challenging and say there is no God, or I am God, or even I don't care for God. So these aspects of these conceptions will come. Why? Because you have not kept the constitutional duty of your spirit soul. But I am spirit soul, I am part and parcel of Krishna as the prime objective. You are having so many other conceptions that I am body, I have this designation, I have to do that, I am very powerful, I am independent. So these conceptions will lead you to this type of understanding that there is no God, I am God, or I don't care for God. But in actuality, this challenging spirit will not save us. Right? God is there and we can see him at every moment. The point is, we cannot escape from God. Right? We cannot run away from God. Every moment, at every aspect, God is always present in different, in our dealings. In fact, everywhere God is all pervading. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Maya tadam vidam sarvam. He gives wonderful examples to illustrate how when you drink water, Krishna says, I am the taste of water. Rasoham apsukunte. When you get up early in the morning, you see the sunshine. Immediately Krishna says that you have to understand that the sunshine, what you're seeing, that light I am. Prabhasmi sashi suryayo. The light from the sun, the light from the moon is I am. So like this, Krishna says, I am all pervading and I am everything. So we cannot say that, I'm independent, I don't care for God. These are all foolish statements. We have to understand that we are very much in God's creation. And God is everywhere, and every moment God is watching us. God is, in fact, maintaining us. If we refuse to see God in our life, then he will be present before us as cruel death. Krishna says in Gita, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. Somebody who is denying Krishna's existence, God's existence throughout life, atheists, demons, they have to see God as cruel death at the end of their life. They have example like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu. They always wanted to defy Krishna's authority, Lord's authority. Then what happened? At the final time, they have to see Krishna in that very cruel form. If we do not choose to see him one feature, we will see him in another feature. Right? So Krishna is always there. It's like you cannot escape Krishna's presence. There are different features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is the original root of the entire cosmic manifestation. That is what Bhagavad Gita Krishna explains, how he is variously manifested in different ways, different forms, different manifestations. So he is the actual root. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am the root of everything. I am the cause of everything. I am the origin of everything, Krishna says. So everything is actually Krishna's, Lord's. We have to understand this through the standard books of knowledge. In one sense, it is not possible for us to escape. So it is our duty in one sense to serve Krishna because it is, we are very intimately connected with Krishna. This aspect has to be felt and realized in a proper way, in a proper guidance. Right now, because we're ignorant, we think, who is Krishna? I don't know Krishna. Okay. So in this way, the Krishna consciousness movement is attempting to play a very important role in everybody's life, trying to see whatever best possible in society, to see that everybody is given this training to see God in every aspect of life. This Krishna consciousness movement is not blind religious fanaticism, nor is it revolted by some recent upstart. It's not some manufactured system, some concocted system. No. So Prabhupada is not a blind religious fanaticism. Nowadays, there are so many so-called Swamis, Gurus, so many so-called spiritual organizations who are all promoting different things and talking different things. So Krishna consciousness is not such sort of an organization. When Prabhupada was in France, Paris, whenever there was open lecture in the public, it was Krishna Prabhupada used to talk about government or God. There was a lot of opposition from the audience, especially the youth, because they were not liking the word called authority, that we have to be subordinate to Krishna, or subordinate to God, or subordinate to government. They wanted to be revolting sort of nature. So this is what Prabhupada is telling us here, that this Krishna consciousness movement is not a revolt by some recent upstart. It's like we see in the European history, there are so many revolutions happened. People are not liking the system of government. They were overthrown, and so many things happened. So Krishna consciousness movement is not like that. It's not a blind religious fanaticism, nor is it a revolt for some recent upstart. Rather, it is an authorized scientific approach to the matter of our eternal necessity in relation to the absolute personality of God at the supreme enjoy. Very wonderful statement Prabhupada is making. It's an authorized. Authorized means the supreme authority, Lord Krishna, through a wonderful system of the parampara. So whatever we are following in Krishna consciousness movement, Iskcon, is not simply imagined or concocted or manufactured. It is all authorized. Authorized on the standard books of understanding called Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. And the approach is very scientific, because practically when Prabhupada went around the world at his very old age of 70 years, and he has taught the people everywhere about the simple method, and it is being proved very successful. So science means you have theoretical knowledge, and practically when you do that, the results will be true or facts. And that is a very scientific approach to the matter of our eternal necessity. What is our eternal necessity? As spirit soul, our eternal necessity is Satchidananda. We are seeking for eternal existence. We are seeking for eternal knowledge. We are seeking for eternal Ananda, bliss. Whereas the material world is giving us a contrary experience of impermanent, ignorant, and very degrading and a very very sad situation. So this aspect of Satchidananda is possible only in relation with absolute personality of Godhead. This aspect is being taught to everybody, and this is a very authorized scientific approach. Nobody can deny that this is not scientific. Krishna consciousness simply deals with our eternal relationship with Him and the process of discharging our relative duties to Him. This is the point. So what is Krishna consciousness movement doing? It is actually telling people that we have an eternal relationship with Krishna, and we have to mold our lives in a way that we conduct our various activities, whether conditional or constitutional. Conditional means connected with our body. Say we have a body and we are in a particular situation, particular condition, we have to execute those duties also. But perform those duties in relation with Krishna. It's like you have to eat because you have a body. But eat only Krishna Prasadam. You have to work. Krishna says, work in a way that you are offering the results to Him. And have the background understanding that the work what I am doing is all sanctioned by Krishna, like this. So, the process of discharging our duties, relative duties to Him, is what Krishna consciousness is teaching all of us. Thus, Krishna consciousness enables us to achieve the highest perfection of life attainable in the present human form of existence. So, Krishna consciousness actually is training all of us to come to the actual perfection or actual situation of what is the purpose of human life. Otherwise, what is happening is that we don't know what is the purpose of life, what is the goal of life. We are doing that, we are doing this, trying to be happy in different ways. Finally, our life is ended with frustration, disappointment. Very nicely, one of our acharyas, Sripada Shankaracharya says, we begin our life from our birth as child. In childhood, we are very busy playing. And once we have reached youthhood, when you are young, you are busy in romance. Girl looking forward for attracted towards boy, or boy is attracted towards girl. Then when you are middle-aged, you are busy with your family affairs, trying to settle down many things, business, establishment, like this. And when you become old, you are bewildered. in the sense that, oh, in my childhood I didn't do this, in my young youth age I would have done this, and this, and in the when I was in the middle age, I was, my children were not taken care properly, or my business didn't work out properly. Like this, you are bewildered and you are fully having chinta. Chinta means very, very worries and anxieties. So like this, Shankaracharya says, whole life is gone like this. Either in childhood as playing, in the youthhood with romance, or in your middle age with busy with family affairs, or in your old age with simply chinta or anxieties, worries. There is time for your spiritual, spiritual thinking, or understanding that who you are. Spiritual quest you don't have. Jignasa for understanding who are you don't have. You're simply lost like this, life after life. So this is the unfortunate situation we are going through. Whereas the Krishna consciousness movement is trying to give this wonderful understanding that the highest perfection of life is attainable in the present human form of existence. Humans have much better facilities than animals. Why this is so much stressed? Prabhupada explains very nicely in the next point. We must always remember that this particular form of human life is attained after an evolution of many millions of years in the cycle of transmigration of the spirit soul. In the Bhagavad it is mentioned, Durlabham Manusham Janma. Not that we have got this human life just like that. No, we have gone through many species of life. In fact, there are 84 lakh species of life. We've gone through all of them, and finally we got human form of life. Our soul has been transmigrating from species of life to another species of life, life after life. Millions of lives we had. So now that we have got a human form of life, is a very special life we have got. This we have to realize, this we have to understand. Just like somebody who was going through so much of poverty, he becomes rich by his hard struggle. He knows what the difficulty he has gone through during his poverty and how he became rich. He values that money, even though he has become rich, he values every paisa what he has earned that way. So likewise, it is very important that we understand the value of human life, what we have got. In this particular form of life, the economic question is more easily solved than in the lower animal forms. One more wonderful point Prabhupada is making. Now, we did not struggle so much in this human form of life to solve our economic problems, like eating, roti, kapada, makan. Right? Not difficult, but we are simply struggling. Prabhupada gives example. There are swines, dogs, camels, asses, and so on, whose economic necessities are just as important as ours. Every living entity has 4 necessities. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitana. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But the economic question of these animals and others are solved under primitive conditions, whereas the human being is given all the facilities for leading a comfortable life by the laws of nature. Right? For example, a human being, if he does farming properly in a piece of land, he has to work hard for 2 or 3 months maximum. Then for the whole year, he'll get his food without any problem. Right? Likewise, if he keeps a cow, he just takes care of the cow. That's it. So you get the milk. So like this, with not much hard labor, a human being can lead a very simple life and fulfill his economic necessities. Right? Not like in the modern day, running around here and there in the factories and that and this and going to offices. We have done our whole life, in a very complicated manner. We have to establish ourselves and then moving forward in our lives. The modern day society, what is happening is what Prabhupada explains now. The modern society is called a polished animal society. Why? Because Prabhupada gives a very nice argument here. Why is a man given a better chance to live than the swine or other animals? Why our facilities, what we have with regard to us, the faculties we have, why we have better facilities? Let little ponder over this. Right? Why is a highly posted government officer given better facilities for a comfortable life than ordinary clerk? Right? A big officer, or even in any district or any place, an officer or a responsible person has more better facilities with more better comforts. Why is he given so many things? So in the human form of life also, why the facilities are much better than other lower life forms is because Krishna explains that Prabhupada explains, the answer is very simple. The important officer has to discharge the duties of a more responsible nature than those of an ordinary clerk, is the point. So, when a big officer is given more comforts, more facilities, it only means that his responsibility is more serious than an ordinary person. That's why facilities are more. Likewise, the human form of life has a bigger responsibility of moving towards our spiritual life, spiritual journey. We have to properly plan and move forward, not simply be busy with animal propensities of life. That is the point. Similarly, the human being has to discharge higher duties than the animals who are always busy with filling their hungry stomachs. If you are also busy with ahara, nidra, bhaya, maituna, means eating, sleeping, mating, defending, not worried about what is the purpose of life, then we are also we don't deserve to have this human form of life. But by the laws of nature, the modern animalistic standard of civilization has only increased the problems of filling the stomach. Right? We're only thinking we are all working to eat, not that that we have to understand that we have to live actually a life of spiritual understanding. This aspect is missing in the present society. People are living to only eat. Actually, you're supposed to eat to live. That is not the point what people are having. People are thinking. When we approach some of these polished animals for spiritual life, they say that they only want to work for the satisfaction of their stomachs and that there is no necessity of inquiring about the Godhead. This is what they want to say. They don't have any interest in spiritual understanding. Right? And despite their eagerness to work hard, there's always the question of unemployment and so many other impediments incurred with the laws of nature. Right? They want to work hard, they want to do this, do that, but so many other problems associated with that are always there, which all of us are very much aware. So Prabhupada is pointing out how question of unemployment, overpopulation, that this problem, that problem, so many things. This is all the way. This is the way the material world, material nature, Krishna's nature will put impediments as laws of nature. Despite this, they still denounce the necessity of acknowledging the Godhead. The necessities of life are provided by Krishna. Their life is going on because of Krishna's presence. These things they don't even know, or they're totally unaware of, they are totally ignorant of. Right? So the last point I'm going to make now is about human being is not meant to work hard like animals. It's a very nice point Prabhupada makes. He says, we are given this human form of life not just to work hard like a swine or dog, but attain the highest perfection of life. Right? Animals, all of us have to work hard. Work hard for what? You work hard for attaining your spiritual perfection of life, spiritual goal of life. Right? That's why this whole chapter is called Learning the Science of the Self. To know the science of the self is a very important aspect in our life. If we do not want that perfection, then we'll have to work very hard, for we'll be forced by the laws of nature. Right? Your aspect of rendering service is your nature, but you render service to Krishna in a proper way. That is the perfection of your life. Otherwise, you'll be simply forced to go on working, and nature will see that you'll be getting different types of species of life. In the closing days of Kali Yuga, this present age, men will have to work hard like asses for only a scrap of bread. We are seeing the present day how people are traveling so many miles across just to get their living. People are doing all these things now just for their existence. This process has already begun, and every year the necessity for working hard for lesser wages will increase. Somehow, give me something so that I can maintain myself is the principle which is going on right now. Yet human beings are not meant to work hard like animals, and if a man fails to discharge his duties as a human being, he is forced to transmigrate to the lower species of life by the laws of nature. Right? So this is a very important point Prabhupada is making, that we are meant to work hard not like animals, but we want to work for our spiritual upliftment, spiritual progress. Work towards self-realization. Otherwise, you'll be forced to get one more body and go on in this material life again and again. The Bhagavad Gita very vividly describes how a spirit soul, with the laws of nature, takes its birth and gets suitable body and sense organs for enjoying matter in the material world. Krishna explains this in Bhagavad Gita, how when you are not aiming towards self-realization, then you will be forced to take one more body, a suitable body which is as per your desire and your karma, and you will go on transmigrating body after body in the material world. And so with this, I conclude. If online we have any questions, or anybody who are attending here have questions, I can answer them. No questions, then we will close the session now. We'll continue our discussions in the next week. Thank you.